Last call, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the pimp slap POD, Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not the typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike Money's killers might even make the evening news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Sports Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up? What up? What up? Welcome to Last Call, Pub Sports Radio, 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. You already know Pub Sports Radio. Welcome to the show tonight. And, a little housekeeping news here. I am producer Les today. We got some things happening, so we're going to make the most of it. Does that mean that we trim the plays down and make sure that we get it right? Hell no. We're firing a full clip tonight. We got a big NHL slate. We got 2 games in the NBA, but we are bringing on our college basketball expert, Connor Migga Mac, going to come in here and drop it for us like it's hot. So I'm excited about the games tonight that we have on store. A little distortion with my background. We're under construction as well. So, we're going to make it. We're going to make it work. We need to get that cash, and that's what it's all about. So, let's see where we go from there. But you guys know the situation. Hit that like button for me tonight. We got a big show. We got a big card. And we need you guys to give that a big thumbs up button for us to show the love and support. We need you to help us grow. We need you to help us get it recognized out there in that YouTube community. And it starts with you guys, first and foremost, showing up, second, hitting that thumbs up. And speaking of which, get your pens and paper ready. We got a lot of plays to scribble down tonight. We got a couple takeaways as well for the future to kind of plant the seed if it's a weekend spot that pops up so that we can help you guys make money even when we don't have the show. And last but not least, make sure you throw your plays out there in the chat for us. You guys are sharp as F. I've said that all week long. I stand by it. You guys are making a ton of cash, and we're tailing along. I know T, myself, the boys that have been on the show this week are all firing away with you guys and taking down the notes, the trends, and the angles you guys share. So we really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys all dropping in and being here early and ready to roll as well. Again, big NHL card tonight and a lot of college basketball plays. So we want to make sure we get all of this in. You guys know college basketball waits for nobody. 7 o'clock comes fast, and we make sure you get you guys those plays to get them bookies cash. So shout out to everybody. BT, member in the house, rocking and rolling our guy, renewing the membership and staying green. That means a ton to everybody to see our group continue to get green and continue to grow. We love when you guys gift them. We love when you renew them. We love all you guys being a part of what we're doing here at Pub Sports Radio. So thank you much, BT. Welcome again. Welcome back. Let's keep rolling. There's Joseph Thompson says, what up, Mikey? Let's get that cash. Here's his best bet. Our guy, Joseph Thompson, religiously coming in here and just sharing hard work to get everybody paid. He likes that Georgia State, Southern Missouri over 147 tonight. And I like that play. I may end up getting there myself, Joseph Thompson. So thank you much for sharing. Stacks is here. Justin McKelvey says Washington Huskies -4.5. I like that play a lot, Justin. It's not a play that I put out on the card tonight just because of the sheer volume of what we have going on. But, Washington seems to own Oregon. Oregon, not necessarily road tested and battle ready. So that'll be an interesting game to see if Washington can put them boys away. And Joseph Thompson, we know you cashed again last night, my guy. I appreciate that. Love seeing you guys making that cash. And again, sharing your hard work with everybody out here. That's what it's all about. We're working as a community with one focus, one vision, one goal, grow our bankrolls. And it starts day by day. It's play by play. Let's rock and roll. Ian Chambers in the house says, y'all know what time it is. What up, Ian? Welcome back, my guy. Thanks for coming in. J Smooth 16. Real Deal Prime. Let's go, baby. You're going to like what we got going on tonight. Kenny Wood's out there. Ken Wood, what's up, my guy? Director 97. Happy New Year, he says. Let's go Utah Utes -5.5. Happy New Year to you, Director 97. Thanks for dropping in here, my guy. Love to see the plays you guys are sharing. Ian says, love this conference NCAA hardwood. I hate the holiday data. Ready to cap hard. Yeah, I agree with that as well. We're getting to conference play now, so that's what it comes down to. The NBA, the conference play, we've got a lot of data that's maturing, and this is the right time for it to happen for us here. January, February, leading into that big March conference tournaments, and then the big tournament as well. Should be a lot of fun. We got to grow these bankrolls, though, before Pubapalooza 3. That's coming up right around the corner, just a few 2.5 months out, not even at this point. And we need to have some cash in our pockets to be able to go out there and fire the bullets that we need to when we get down there to San Antone. Dan Kelly likes the Nuggets first half and full game for our guy, Dan Kelly. What's up, Dan? Thanks for coming in here. Our NBA aficionado giving us his looks as well. He likes the Nuggets first half and full game. And that's outstanding. So we appreciate you guys all making the time tonight, 6 o'clock. You're getting home. You're getting out of work. Maybe you're driving home and you got us kind of teed up and you're listening to it on the radio as you get home. It's all good. It don't matter where you're listening. We just need you to listen because we want to come out there together to smash these books and give you guys these looks. So that's what it all is about here. And, let's talk about it here. We got, Justin says we got to get our bread up for Pubapalooza 3. 10 weeks. Can you believe it? 10 short weeks. It's going to fly. It's going to be, before you know it, January's in the books and we're just rounding the corner, locking down the final details to have a lot of fun out there. So I'm excited. It's going to be my first Pubapalooza, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to show the boys how to cocktail, and, I'm looking forward to getting some bets in there as well. I love that the tournament's starting the first day of Pubapalooza 3, so that's going to be a ton of fun. That's my favorite time of year, and I'm looking forward to smashing and cashing. So let's go. Let's talk about this here. You guys know what's up here. We recap every day. Important to stay transparent and clear. Our guy had a 5-2 day yesterday, LJ cooking. And our guy prior to that, Billy Briz, with a nice little 3-1 day for himself as well. Listen, guess they're flying, man. They're sharp. They're fire. They're sharp like you guys in the chat. And we're bringing on one of the sharpest college guys I know to come through and talk about the college card tonight. So it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited about what we have lined up here. Love this NHL card. Love this college basketball card. NBA, I'm okay with it. I still have a play in there. I still like the play I have out there. It's just it's only a 2-game slate. So, we got a huge number on a total and a side for Milwaukee. We've got a home dog in Golden State playing. That's going to be an interesting game, but that should be fun. Golden State, Denver as well. So we'll get there and we'll talk about that. There's Caddy Daddy. Says Caddy's gift of the day. Boston, Pittsburgh, no goal in the first 10 minutes. Caddy Daddy, I like that play a lot. That lines up with the look that I have on that game. So I really like that play there. I love that you found the plus money spots as well. That's huge for the ROI. That's going to grow the bankroll day in and day out. The more you can take opportunities with those, you get the full unit back plus some when you bet on that. So it's a great way to go, my guy. Ian Chaber says, I have Oregon covering the plus 12 versus Washington. I did Oregon covering. Is the number plus 12? Is that what you mean? You've got them covering with a, I'm not sure. I didn't think the line was 12. I thought it was 4.5. But hey, nonetheless, let's go. Let's rock. Let's talk about this thing. You guys know what's up here. Recap City. We just gave our boys the shout out for this week here. Mine not so great. 5-6 yesterday. Net, we lost 0.4 of a unit. So we'll take it. It's not great, but we had a big card. We lined it up. That extra look certainly went from the black to the red there. But we had the Devils -1 easy casher. We had 3 spots lined up for the Devils to play on that thing. And they smoked them. We probably should have gone to -1.5 to make that thing a plus money spot. But hey, you know what? We wanted that push to be in play. Washington tied it up. I thought might get there, but then New Jersey just put the foot on the gas. And then the Ducks ran out of gas. Talk about gas. 1-0 lead. I was feeling pretty strong going into that third period. And then it just kind of all fell apart. It was one of those spots where you could kind of feel the momentum changing. Toronto pops one in off a power play. And that was pretty much all they wrote there going into overtime. And, Toronto gets the job done. So Austin Matthews with a sniper of a spot out there. Shout out to Toronto. Getting their second win there on the West Coast road trip to kick things off in the season. And who knows? This might be a Toronto spot. This might be a Toronto year. Maybe. Probably not. If you follow the NHL, it's probably not. But hey, let's keep going here. We got Eastern Tennessee over 135.5. We smashed and cashed that thing pretty easily. Villanova let us down, though. Villanova -8 was not a good look on the card. I thought it was going to be a great spot given that they were running on some high octane, but they ran out of gas themselves. But Stanford +4.5. There's the outright winner. We talked about that on the show. Guess what? Similar angle back tonight with this program here in Stanford +4.5. Again, the spot that we've been cashing this week with the Brown game. Brown almost won outright at that 4, if you'll remember, on Tuesday, right? We had Brown +4. They lose the game by 1. We got Stanford +4.5. They come through and win that thing outright. And now we've got a couple spots tonight that'll fall into that window. But VCU, suspect, lost their coach, probably more of a factor than accounted for here with Mike Rhodes moving on out to Penn State, but we'll talk more about that tonight. Sacramento NBA cashed it. We got that over 231. Man, that game sailed over it. Overtime certainly helped, but it wasn't necessary. We were going over regardless, but we cashed at 231. We got the Atlanta +1. We got the Toronto +1.5. Some really strong looks in those spots. That's like the Toronto team, man. When it's 5 or 6 or 7, it's a bad Toronto spot. When it's 1 or 2, it might be time to look into it a little bit more, especially with the Anunoby trade going on. Toronto might have found some new legs out there on the hardwood. And, shout out to my guy, LJ. He cashed his Grizz spot. We were head-to-head with that Minnesota and Grizz spot, and he got it done. So shout out to my guy, LJ. I didn't like being head-to-head with him. I knew it right off the gate. And then the fact that I could find a 5 and he was on the 5.5 was like, shoot, here we go. The number's dropping. I don't know if I should say shoot. I can't see the time and how much time we got rolling here. But anyhow, then the last ad as well, the Jazz and Durin over 11.5 rebounds. What do you end up with, 10? I mean, it is what it is, though. It was a 5 and 6 day. We kind of kept the, despite the fact that it was a sub 500 day, didn't really hurt as bad as it could have. So, we'll take it in stride and we'll run with it. Shout out to everybody there. I see it. Park Gate says, let's go. What's that? Is RH8S? I'm not sure. Gas tanks, Park Gate, gas tank. I'm not sure what you're doing there. Dylan Metz says, Mikey, what up, Dylan? And Ian Chambers says, Oregon State, Washington State. Okay, I got you. Yeah, Providence screwed yesterday by losing. They were supposed to win. I don't like to give the plays out. I gave it out earlier in the day, but I didn't give it out on last call specifically because I don't like to give those 6. I want a mad dash, a mad rush to try to get those plays in there. So I try to keep last call specifically to set. Now that doesn't mean there won't be something that I kind of red flag alert and we start the day out covering that spot. But anyhow, yeah, Providence did not show up yesterday. They might have moved themselves to the shit list here. I'm not entirely sure, but not entirely feeling good about what I've seen there. So maybe Ed Cooley got out of town just in time. Maybe he knew he was getting out of town and just figured he wouldn't stock the cupboards. I'm not sure. There's Wine Time, our guy. Wine Time Sports in the house. Kent Davies, some weird healthy scratches on the Flyers tonight. I was looking at that on both sides. That's a weird game in itself. Way too big a number for me to get involved with on the, Flyers shouldn't be laying a -190 on anybody. I know they've been flying and no pun intended. And of course I know that, the other side of things with Columbus has been kind of reeling, but that's just too big a number. What I had thought about doing was parlaying Atkinson over 2.5 shots on goal with the Flyers money line, but I didn't see him in the lineup when I last looked. So I couldn't get there. I just couldn't do it. I know it's a revenge spot for Atkinson, I guess, sort of. I mean, team change, but he wanted the change as much as everybody else. It's also a revenge spot for Tortorella. He was out there coaching against Columbus, but Carter Hart is going for Philadelphia. And the old used bag of pucks is going on the other side for Columbus. So we'll see what happens. But Dan Kelly says I fade. Okay. Well, try my best not to here. Sometimes it happens with the production. So we'll keep it going. Kent Davies, I'm looking to get on the Jackets maybe. Parkade, I don't know if you're speaking French. I'm not sure what that is. Ricky Levine says, Pimp Slap, what's cracking my NHL plays? There we go, Rick. He's got Columbus plus, speaking of, there's Columbus plus 155. He's got the Islanders -120. The Kings in regulation -115 and says, hit the like button for Mike. Yeah, hit the like button for Pub Sports, man. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Got a huge spot that I like tonight with that Kings game. So it's a big opportunity. Some subtle changes now that the lines moved and the goaltending adjustments have changed, but I'm still going in for Bear on that one. Caddy Day says, how do you feel about the line movement on the St. Louis Blues? Got bet down to a pick 'em and then back up at the opener to plus 130. Yeah, that was some interesting line movement there. No official play on the side, but I think I have a total in that game. So I'm happy to talk about that. Billy Briz, I like Troy -4.5. There's Billy Briz rocking and rolling. He's got that Troy -4.5 spot. Troy has won 6 of their last 7 home games, scoring more than 84 points a game. I had written down a Troy under spot, which kind of correlates, I think, with the favorite in there. So Troy blasts the doors off those boys and gets it done. I like that, Billy Briz. Thanks for sharing. Won 3 of their last 4. Old Dominion are 1-6 straight up, last 7, 0-4 on the road. Old Dominion's just, kind of still trying to figure their program out, in my opinion. So Swizz says, we be Pubhead. Absolutely, Swizz. Let's go, my guy. We got the the originator of the Weeby Pub coming on here was C. Mac himself. Dylan says, Kings in regulation, smacked it twice. Nasty Nate says, what's poppin'? Jay Peasy, how we feeling about Weeby Pub, baby? We're feeling pretty damn good about it, Jay Peasy, my guy. And let's go. Let's rock. Let's jump into this card here. We've got, again, me on the ones and twos and the show. So we're going to do our best, guys. If I missed the comments, it's not because I'm ignoring you. It's just because there's a lot happening here behind the old dashboard. So we'll do our best to make it happen for everybody tonight. But let's get into this thing here. We've got, a pretty meaty NHL slate, including a parlay that I like a lot out there tonight. And I started the card off. I'm rolling right to this Boston under 6. We've got the Penguins coming on the road against the Boston Bruins. We got Nedeljkovic in goal at 6-3-2 for the Penguins. They just sat him so that they could get this opportunity against Boston. So Boston has Swayman going into the net at 11-2-4. And, both these guys are pretty fantastic right now. They're both over a 92% save percentage. Nedeljkovic, he's going in he's looking for, his second game start in 3 nights. He did come in a relief appearance against the Capitals. So they sat him, expecting him to play against Boston. But he was pretty good when he went in there in that relief. He went 14 of 15 saves on that game, and he looked pretty sharp doing it. So, I think this is a playoff atmosphere. Only 2 goals let in by Nedeljkovic on his last 53 shots. So I mentioned he's at 92.4 save percentage, but he's playing at a 96.2% save clip right now. So certainly playing some stellar hockey. The Pens being 3-1 in their last 4, and Boston's won 4 in a row. This is going to be a battle right now. This is a battle royale. Swayman 2-0 in his last 2. He's made 52 of 56 shots, 92.9%. So he's been consistent. He's winning games. Boston's winning games, and he's keeping the puck out of the net. Boston is outscoring their opponents 18-7 on the current run, suggesting strong defense, strong goaltending, and that's kind of validated in the numbers that we're seeing with Swayman going out there in the crease. I love the spot here. When you just beat a team and you're coming off a win and an under, now you're a favorite. The under is 17-24, but the under is only averaging about 5.5 goals a game. So I like the 6. It keeps the draw in play for us, or the push in play for us. I think this is a 3-1 game. I expect playoff atmosphere. I expect hard hitting, rock'em sock'em style hockey out there, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So we're going to keep a brisk pace here, guys, coming in. Hit that like button for us if you haven't done so yet. But at the same time, we're going to start the card out. We're opening the card on the ice tonight. We laced the skates up, and we're going to take this Boston under 6 as the first game. Put a little check mark in this, because you're going to hear about that Boston game as we look later on in the parlay. Again, if you beat the team previously, you won your last game as an under and you're a favorite, 34-13 spot. So kind of bookmark that or earmark that, and we'll come back and we'll talk about that as far as one of the parlay pieces that we'll talk about at the end of the hockey slate here. Next game we're going to talk about I don't see it there, but nonetheless, next game we're going to talk about isn't Dallas. It's going to be the Buffalo Sabres. Absolutely real deal Primar guys. Shout out to the grinder. We're rocking with this Buffalo Sabre spot. We've got Levi in net at 7-6-2. Montreal starting Allen at 4-7-2. And this is that rematch, revenge type of spot that we talked about before. You guys you've heard me say it a whole bunch of times out there. This is a rematch. You got an away favorite that was previously the home favorite and took the L, are 522 and 273. That's a meaty number for a Buffalo Sabres revenge spot, and a Levi guy that wants to get right. We know that Levi kind of got sent down to the minors, had his Amherst start, did okay, got called back up, and he was firing. He was playing at a really strong rate, but he's kind of regressed a little bit. He's kind of fallen back into his ways. The holidays, though, I said this before, nobody parties at the holidays like NHL players, hockey players in general. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. At the end of the day, on December 31st, he lets in 4 goals on 30 shots, only an 86.7% save percentage, 5-1 loss to the Ottawa Senators. It was a tough spot for Buffalo, though, kind of wedged in there between New Year's. He's got 3 or more goals that he's let in his last 4 games as well. But prior to that, he was 3-0-1 with a 94.2% save percentage. I think we see more of that opportunity for Levi to come back to the middle and start to be that stronger goaltender. I love the revenge spot here. This is also Allen's first spot since December 30th. He let in 3 goals on 25 shots in a 4-1 loss to Florida. And I love that loss type of spot here with the rematch and the revenge spot on deck. Furthermore, when you beat the team, now you're a home dog, and you're facing a losing opponent that's won less than 50% of their games. You're 28-88, going all the way back to 2019. So that's an NHL-wide trend. When you beat a team and now you're a home dog against a losing opponent, you don't get yourself jacked up for that game. In fact, you fall on your face, and you're losing those games by 1.53 goals a game. So I like the spot. Allen won 7-1 in his last 9, 88.7% save percentage. Took a 4-3 win against Dallas and Montreal. They did, but was really surprised by that. We expected that game to go over. Did not expect Montreal to win, but they hung on by the hair in their chins and were able to get it done. Now, Buffalo is getting outscored 15-8 in their last 4 games, but this has got that revenge rematch spot written all over. Toronto and Buffalo. They play hard in that little kind of horseshoe that is the Great Lakes. And I think we see that tonight. I think Buffalo rises to the challenge. So very much expecting that out there. Dylan Metz says the over. How to rise that first period over at 15. Have to rise this first period over. How much we betting? How much are we betting? Yeah, I'm coming into the chat late, so I'm just gonna park that for you guys for a second there, and we'll keep it rolling. Lots of hockey to cover. Want to keep a brisk pace and get our guy in here rolling with us. So, next game I want to talk to you guys though about. Love this game. I love this game in 3 spots. I'm officially on the Dallas Stars. We've got Georgiev in goal for Colorado. That's a 28-2 goaltender right now. He's been taking the lion's share of the battle for Colorado. On the Dallas side of things, we've got Wedgwood at 11-3-2. We know that Ottinger's been out, and that's been a challenge for Dallas, but it's a challenge that they've kind of, been able to rise to. We do have a similar revenge spot. It's not the same revenge angle, but these 2 teams met in Colorado. It should be a playoff competition. It's kind of a playoff rematch from last year. Colorado did win 6-3, but that was back in November. So a lot has transpired since then. When you get a home favorite that's lined between -100 and -160, that's off a loss and an over. They're 29-8 in these spots. I think that very much resonates with this Dallas team that's been pretty sharp as of late. I love a low number for Dallas as well. I think it's got a lot to do with, just the fact that they've been kind of back and forth since the holiday break here. Georgiev has 3 goals on 28 shots in that game that they played. So he wasn't necessarily standing on his head. It was just a lot of firepower in Colorado that was just too much for Dallas to contend with. And Dallas was on a little win streak themselves in that spot. So Colorado was licking their chops to come in there and get it done. That being said, though, Georgiev coming off of 4 goals on 22 shots in his last game. It was a 5-4 win in overtime against the Islanders. He was not standing on his head, much like prior competition that they had out there. 5-0-1 in the last 6 for this guy, but only an 89.9% save percentage. So again, we've got firepower factors in place for Dallas, and I think that's very much the situation that we're going to see tonight. Although I do like, you guys know that Dallas first period over 1.5. That trend has just been fire. If you've been cashing on it, it's a lean for me because I've been cashing intermittently on it. I don't want to continue to just hammer something that I think is probably due to rupture here. The thing that concerns me is the line being at 6. I love the over in this thing as well at 6. Again, home favorites line between -100 and -160 off a loss and an over are 23-13 to the over the next game. But something tells me that this might be a touch of a lower scoring game. We do have some cash coming in on this over, and the number's just kind of parked and idling at 6. So that does give me a little pause, a little reason for concern. But I love the Dallas Stars here. Official play number 3 on the card tonight. And we'll keep it rolling. Let's keep it going here. We got Tampa Bay on deck. Tampa Bay, Minnesota. Vasilevsky in goal at 8-8. We know that since his lower body surgery and recovery now, he's been playing a lot better. Albeit, kind of took a little wrinkle in his last game. The other side of things, we have Marc-Andre Fleury. I haven't missed a boat. I know that his big number for victories is right around the corner here. But I don't care. There's too much injury factor going on right now for this battered and tattered Minnesota team. JPZ, I love the number -135, and I've been cashing on it. If you're new to the party and you hear that it's been cashing on the over, I hate for somebody to jump in now because that trend's been so mature. I think it's like 16 of the last 18 times that they've played at home, that first period has gone over. I love it. I think it's a great look. I just like the Dallas side more, and it's a pretty beefy card for me already. But back to this Minnesota Tampa game. Third start in a row for Marc-Andre Fleury, and that's just a function of Gustafsson being hurt. He has been playing pretty sharp, 3 goals or fewer in 6 of his last 7 games. He's got a 3-3 record, though, so despite the fact that he's keeping the puck out of the net, he's not getting the firepower to match what he's out there doing. So 3-3 with a 92.2% save percentage. Now you got Tampa coming into town. Tampa 1-3 in their last 4. I think that's why this number is as low as it is at this minus 120. 15-4, Dylan says. Got it, Dylan. 15-4. I knew it was close to that. I knew it was a pretty stomping number, but yeah, certainly something to be reckoned with. The fact that the total is only 6 concerns me, though. That's a factor that kind of drew me for concern. But anyhow, I look at this Tampa thing. I think again, the fact that these guys are coming in off of a 1-3 spot in their last 4 games. You know, you take Kaprizov out of the firepower and the offense for Minnesota for a team that's already been struggling to score. I don't know how they're going to do it. I like Kucherov, Stamkos. I think the whole squad's going to run on Minnesota tonight, and I think it's a bad spot. A lot of people on Minnesota, I don't know why. I can't figure it out. I mean, maybe they don't know about all these injuries that are taking place in the lineup. You take out your number 1 starter here, your number 1 power play guy, your number 1 goal scorer. You've got your number 1 goaltender coming out of there as well, and you're putting in an old man Fleury. It's just a recipe for disaster. So I'm taking it. I got Tampa minus 120. JPZ says Lightning, great look. Wild still dealing with injuries. Absolutely, JPZ. That's exactly what I'm talking about here with this thing. It's just a weird spot that I'm not entirely sure I understand. And if it's a trap, then so be it. I'm in it because I think it's just great value on a Tampa team that's really getting undervalued simply because they're 1-3 in their last 4 games. So Vasilevsky, certainly a capable goaltender coming off of some extended rest himself. I think it's going to be a beat the brakes off them boys type of night. And we'll keep it rolling here. So next game up on the docket here, the Florida Panthers versus the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And here's our boy, SpongeBob. I can't believe it. He has become my boy because he's putting money in my pocket. Bobrovsky at 18-9-1 for these Florida Panthers. This win, they're going to Logan Thompson at 11. And great. Aiden Hill out of the one. We've got no Aiden Hill. They've got to go back to Logan Thompson for his 4th start in a row. He is looking for a win, to go for his back-to-back win spots. But I just think it's a difficult situation for him. They're 2-4 in their last 6. He's allowed 3 or more goals in his last 4, and he's only got an 86.6% save percentage. Bobrovsky, on the other hand, is playing tremendous hockey right now. He's got 5 wins or he's looking for 5 wins in a row. He's got a 93.2% save percentage in his last 6 games, and Florida's playing well in front of him. It's a 5-1 spot for Florida in their last 6 games. Florida's won 5 in a row right now, and they just beat Vegas 4-2 2 weeks ago. So this isn't the revenge factor, simply because the home favorite situation doesn't apply here, being that Florida is the favorite in this game. But I think that just kind of negates the fact that the revenge is important to these guys here. I know it's important. They want to come back there and get this win, but Vegas is still trying to get their house in order. Big letdown. If you need a clerical point or a clarification point around the struggles that Vegas is having, go back to the New Year's game, the big staple game. They get shut out by a Seattle team. They were more concerned getting off the bus dressed like Elvis than they were concerned about going out there facing the challenge that was Seattle. And also teams that rebound off of a loss from those open ice games are in a difficult spot as well. The ice changes. The hollow, for anybody that doesn't know, the hollow, the radius that you use on your skates when you play in an outdoor type of environment versus an indoor are 2 different. The speed of the ice is different. Obviously, the sun and the glare are other factors as well. So it's a homecoming spot for Vegas off that monster letdown in a 3-0 position. Their team is struggling in their last 6 games, and Florida's been red hot. Again, Florida at minus 110. Maybe I'm missing something. Bo Jackson likes Florida as well. Let's go, Bo. That's going to be an official play for the card. Bo Jackson likes the Sabres, the Kings, and the Panthers. I already like the Sabres. We're already on that one. Let's keep it rolling, and let's see what else we have on deck here. Somebody had asked about this game, and this is my play for this game here. I'm looking at this under for this Vancouver-St. Louis game. Goaltending. We got Demko starting in goal for Vancouver. He's a rested Demko. I know he's going for his third victory in a row. Vancouver's 6-0-1 in their last 7. Vancouver's out there playing hard. They're playing defense, and they're getting points in each of these games that they're going out there with. The other side of things, you got Binnington in net there, the number one guy for St. Louis, without a doubt. But St. Louis is 0-2 in their last 2 games, and it's scoring that's been a problem for them. They've been outscored in those last 2 games, 6-3. On the other side of things, Demko, 3 or less goals in a game 5 times. 3 is the important number because usually the dog is like a team total at 2.5, and it's juiced on the over. And then the favorites are usually 3.5. So the fact that he's been confidently getting in that team total under arena is huge for him. Binnington, on the other hand, sub 90%, 6 of his last 8 games, 3-5 with an 86.7% save percentage. Vancouver league best 3.84 goals for a game. Now you might be saying, well, then with all this information, why aren't you taking Vancouver? Because I think the angle for this side is a lot better here. I think it's going to be a difficult spot for St. Louis to put pucks in net. There's been several games this season that I've been leaning on St. Louis to score goals. Away favorites in the West versus the West, 5-18. Difficult challenge there when you look at this Vancouver spot, 5-18. But the under cashed in at a monster rate. So West versus West. I'm sorry, I screwed that up. That's West versus West, 5-18 to the under. And it's been going under by 1.19 goals. That trend, though, that I just butchered miserably as I'm looking at everything. I'm almost autistic with what's going on here. With that trend, though, specifically, that West versus West away favorite spot, we cashed on that earlier this week with Calgary. If you'll remember, I believe it was a 3-0 final score for that Calgary spot. So when these trends get hot and they stay working, I want to keep riding them. And the fact that I can jump in on this under 6.5 to me made a ton of sense. So that is an official play. Again, big hockey card for me. And then the big play that I like, the one that I'm really most excited about with this card tonight is right here. There it is. You'll see it. Bright lights. I've got this Kings -1 spot out here. Challenge for Detroit. They've got Leon going out there in goal at 6-4. 4th straight start for this guy. He's supposed to start the year the starter. Just a little backdrop for Detroit in the history. He was supposed to be the starter. He stunk. They went through a bunch of combinations of other guys. They stunk. Now he's back in there, and he's got his 4th game in a row. He is looking for his 2nd straight start or 2nd straight win, but let's pump the brakes real quick here. You want to talk about Detroit's last win? It was against San Jose, and he was only 88.9% saving in that game. So San Jose team that doesn't score, and he was well below the 90% percentile that considers it to be a decent start. Quality starts over 92.5%, well below that number out there. Now you got a pissed off LA team. If you remember, they just got shut out against Toronto. I think it was 3-0 was the final. They've lost 3 games in a row, and yet they still have, despite shutouts in the mix, the 10th most goals for in the NHL with 3.38 goals. You got a team out here with a goaltender that's got to go back in because they have nobody else against a team that's pissed off and angry that they've lost. They're at home. They're trying to recover from a shutout spot out there. And they benched Talbot. That was their number 1 guy in Talbot. I don't know if they benched him, but they are going with Rittich tonight in goal. Rittich 2-0, pretty impressive. Talbot, 3 straight losses. You had to go to somebody new. They need this win. They want this win, and they're not afraid to put their starting goaltender on the pine so that they can go out there and get it. Rittich is looking for his 3rd win in a row. Again, 2-0 on the season, 39 of 41 saves in the 2 games that he started, and that's good enough for a 95.1% save percentage. The question isn't going to be, does Detroit not score? It's going to be, are the Kings going to be able to put it together and get those goals? Detroit is 2-3 in their last 5 games. Very, very bad spot. Now, previous to this became a dashboard opportunity for me because the way the lines, kind of teed up last night as I was looking through some of these things, it definitely sent the bell off on the radar. The bell on the radar specifically was a team that's lined between -174 and -185, or the opponent was +158, are 0-21, losing by 2.67 goals a game. Huge opportunity right there. It's changed. The reason the line changed, though, isn't because of player injuries. It's because of the goaltending change from Talbot to Rittich. So that took the spot that triggered this game was the Detroit Red Wings opening up as a 158 dog. Again, goaltending change brought a little steam off that number. I still think that plays in spot right now. It's an 0-21 spot against Detroit with a motivated Kings team that's lost 3 games in a row. I love the -1. I wouldn't be afraid to take it to -2. Justin says, I'm on the Kings in regulation at -118. I thought about that, but, this is where that kind of risk reward comes into play. Dylan says Kings -1.5 at +125. I'm not mad at that. I'm certainly on board with that. The difference for me, though, as I priced the opportunity, the implied odds and the difference between the Kings in regulation and the Kings -1 for 7 cents made a ton of sense for me to say, I'll pay up so that the draw's in play. 7 cents, because I am going to go light up this game. So this is usually, everything for me is 1 unit. I track it on the show for 1 unit, but this is a spot that I'm really excited about tonight. I just think it's a huge opportunity for the Kings to put boots to ass on these boys. And I think they're going to do it tonight. So again, for me, it was worth it. Shop around, take a look at the number. If it's -137, all right, I might consider it the other way. The thing about the regulation in that 0-21 spot, just to kind of drill down on it a little bit more for everybody, it's not this past game, but the game before that had an overtime. 9 of those 21 games had an overtime. So it's either they get blown out or they end up coming up with a 1-goal win. So I just wanted the insurance with the 1 because it's going to be a hefty bomb for me. So that was kind of my 2 cents on that thing. The fact that it's not Talbot and it's Rittich actually is an improvement for me here. We've got Detroit. Again, what's their big deal? They got Patrick Kane out there in the lineup. I know Larkin and the boys can go out there and score, but I think it's just a bad travel spot for Detroit. And let's see. I just got a message from our boy. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. All right, let's keep it rolling. Makes good sense, Mike says Dylan. Kelly V, what up, Kelly V? Point, Fiala, Kopitar, and Byfield. Kings 9-1 in the series. Love it. Love it even more knowing that they own those guys. Michael Blana says, can't find a lot today. Hope you got something good. LOL. Well, this is hockey. I mean, I love this hockey slate. I thought, they gave us they kind of screwed us the other day. They gave us 1 game on New Year's. We got a big card the next day. Then we got a 2-spot yesterday. Pushed the games yesterday with that Ducks situation. That could have been a huge monster. But anyhow, big slate today. I think there's just a ton of value kind of laden throughout the card. And low prices on this card. Normally we see a spot like this where we can clean up. So clean up, I want to. Let's talk about this parlay. Here it is. Bright lights, ready to rock. Vin Z says, does DK or FanDuel have -1 lines in hockey? So that's a great question, Vin Z. They do not. They only have the alternate lines at -1.5 and -2.5, or puck lines, I should say. That being said, though, I know Caesars does. Caesars has got a competitive book out there for the -1s. There's also a -1 calculator that I know that a lot of folks have used. Our guy Ron Crawford has kind of championed that thing and put it out there. You can Google the -1 calculator. You can hit me up on Twitter. I can get it over to you at pimp/POD. And basically what you're doing is you're putting, you're splitting your bet between the money line and the -1.5 to generate that middle spot for the -1. And so you need to have enough to win on the money line that it's enough to cancel out how much you're wagering on the -1.5, if that makes sense. So if you're playing it to win $100 on the money line, then it needs to be a wager of $100 on the puck line to come up with that -1 spot. Because the theory is you want the push and play. You don't want to be, the -1 being the push if it comes down to it. I hope I explained that right. I feel like I confused myself explaining it, but basically your to win amount on the money line is how much your risk amount needs to be on the puck line to come up with that -1 number. That way, if they don't cover the -1.5, you push your bet because it's a -1. The only problem would be if they lose outright. So just kind of keep that in mind as a good way to figure it out. And for what it's worth, while we're talking about that -1 spot, if your book does offer, like I know I've got a local book that offers the -1s, the -1 lines that they put out there are terrible. Like you get a lot better number if you go out there and construct it yourself than the, we'll call it the lazy approach, just taking the -1 that they give you. Now, I mentioned Caesars because they are not in that spot. So, Caesars is not one of those books that has that lazy approach. They have some pretty competitive numbers when it comes down to it, but, shop around, take a look. Nasty Nate says, why are the Kings not in your parlay? Nasty Nate, when I tell you I fucking lit these Kings up, I am not joking. And, and I need to have a little something out there for some insurance. I'm excited about that King spot. I think it's a great opportunity. Again, I'm advocating everybody bet sizes appropriately and keeps it within reason, but I just think it's a great spot for them. I've seen a lot of guys say they're doubling up on it tonight, and I don't want to have all my eggs tied to that basket. I've got the parlay out there. You'll see it's Boston. I talked to you earlier about that Boston spot. Not only was it a Boston spot for that rematch situation, but Florida was the second team that fit that criteria. So huge opportunity. I'll give you guys the information one more time on it because I think it's relevant here. When you beat the team the last time and you're coming off a win and an under, now you're a favorite. Your overall numbers, your overall performance, 34-13. You're winning those games 3.3 to 2.6 on average. 34-13. Two teams fit the criteria tonight. One of them was Boston. The other one is Florida. And then I tossed the Flyers in there simply because of the goaltending matchup. Carter Hart versus in a rematch spot, again, with Tortorella. All the things that we talked about with the Flyers at the start of the show are the reasons why I jumped in there and took those Philadelphia Flyers. So, the three put together, plus 405, not too shabby an evening when it comes to trying to cash and get some return on that thing. So 3 legs. I love each of those legs individually, but they're pricey. I didn't want to take Boston -1 or fuck around with regulation. I've already got Florida straight up because I thought it was a low price spot there at -110 to take advantage of. And I'm certainly not laying -190 with the Philadelphia Flyers. So I kind of get to cover each of those spots individually as but kind of tying them together, if that makes sense. So, and I love the return, 4-1 on my money, cheap investment to get a huge 4-unit return out there. So Kelly V's got some great news for us. She says, NBA over in that Denver Golden State game. It's Wemby's birthday. She's got that in the Spurs. Wembyana's birthday for the Spurs. His block's got to be in play, right, Kelly? I mean, over 2.5 blocks. The guy does nothing but put his 7-foot arms up in the air, and now he's a tree. He's a 9-foot tree out there when he throws his arms in the air. And there should be a lot of scoring opportunity in a game that, potentially has the opportunity to get over. So we'll keep going here. Let's see. Pick player you like for a point. Lowers the juice. Kings 9. Yeah, I like that. I absolutely like that. I think that's a great way to do it. Like I said, I was looking at Atkinson over 2.5 shots on goal in the Flyers money line, but it's just something I couldn't find out there when push came to shove. So let's keep moving. We got a lot to cover. I want to give you guys these college basketball games. I'm going to move quickly because we've got some of them that are going to be starting shortly here. You'll see the first spot. I double dipped this first game right off the gate. We got let me pull this up here. I don't want to negate the fact that we're going to talk about these money line movement situations. So let me pull the information up and then I will dial it in and give you guys the goods here. The first spot that I looked at, Detroit and Green Bay. I had the opportunity to come back on Jimmy the Bag show today to talk about this one. And here's the thing, reverse line movement galore. This line opened up at -5 for Green Bay. 50% of the bets, 70% of the cash, and the line's fallen. And I think, the situation, what did I put in there? Let me just double check something. Yeah, I fucked that up. That should say Detroit +3. My bad. I'm glad I caught that. I'm just looking at it going, my numbers aren't adding up in what I'm trying to correlate here. So again, trying to do it all. So bear with me. That is a huge note, though. It's a big difference between the two teams out there. I am on Detroit. Detroit's lost 16 straight games. You're thinking, why is this guy looking at Detroit? I just think it's an opportunity where the bookmakers are concerned with this number. If they put too much action out there, then everyone's going to pound on Detroit. And you can't lose 16 games in a row without finding an opportunity to win in there. They're 0-10 against the conference. You guys have heard me talk about these conference spots before. When it comes to conference games, I like to try to drop in there. And when you get to that 10 spot specifically, I like to start considering the other side of things here. Big spot for me when it came to the over. Horizon League games, when you got a road team on a Thursday, are 20, and there's a couple conferences that fall into this criteria. But Thursdays are over days in the Horizon League. 20-4 to the over, sailing over the number by 12 points. You'll remember we talked about this yesterday where we had the East Tennessee game and the over in that thing. And it was a low-priced number at 135, I want to say it was, 135.5. And we got almost, 150 points? We talked about it being almost 150 points. In this case, the average total we're seeing is 143.4. The average finish on the game is almost 155 points. This thing's lowly priced right now. And the thing about Detroit is they don't play much defense out there. When teams go out there on them, they're scoring 75 points, 80 points. They're putting up 90s on them. Detroit's season average in total points is 140 a game. Green Bay's is 136 a game. I felt like it was a win-win. The average when these two teams play together, the last 10 games they've played, has been 148 points. And I'm seeing a number at 132. That makes absolutely no sense to me other than the fact that they're just thinking Detroit's going to come out here and throw up a 50 spot. Even if Detroit throws up a 50 spot, I still think Green Bay is capable of putting up 82 points. So I think this is going to be a points game. I kind of got cut off as I was talking a little bit about the totals here. This number opened at 131.5. Now we've got 132.5s out there, but 44% of the cash, and 44% of the bets and 84% of the cash are pushing on this under. All the money's coming in expecting it to go lower. The books are pushing it higher, and I love that opportunity. I love the +3 spot for Detroit. I think they're due to win this game. I don't just mean it as in they're due. I mean, they've been playing so poorly that they're not going to continue to lose. Look at the Detroit Pistons. They didn't keep that losing streak going forever. And I think it's an opportunity for Detroit to get this job done tonight. Just want to move quickly. That's a 7 o'clock Eastern start. So we've got a little bit of time on that one. I made a show ad here for you guys to consider your consideration with this game. I'm looking at the William and Mary spot tonight. Again, this one kind of came down to me to the dollars, the X's and O's on the dollars and cents. The line opens at -1, now -3.5. We're even starting to see some 4s out there. 58% of the bets and 53% of the cash on the home team here in William and Mary. Guys, I've been high on this William and Mary team early in the season, but that was kind of pre-conference opportunities. I think that they've kind of done their travels. They're battle-tested, and at -3.5, I love this opportunity. The total shrinking. It opened at 159.5. It's down to 151.5. 61% of the bets and 69% of the cash saying this game goes under the number. And I don't disagree. It opened at -148. The money line's now -170. When we get those tight numbers, I like to try to look at the compression index there on the actual money lines. And we're seeing 59% of the bets and 58% of the cash coming in on William and Mary. I think it's a tribe opportunity tonight. I know, Elon, good team at 7-6, but the tribe aren't shabby at 5-8. You give me this home court opportunity. They just played a Navy team. We know Navy runs a tough defense. They just played a Pepperdine team. Watch Pepperdine come out there and cover the spread tonight against Gonzaga. But they played that Old Dominion team that we talked about earlier. They handled Old Dominion. They were a 3.5-point dog. They came out there and they won that game by 5 points. Big situation there, when it comes down to it. So a couple thoughts that I had when I was looking at it there. And then on the other side of things, if you look at, Elon, they got a Valpa win. They were 5-point favorites. They only won the game by 4. They're not covering spreads. They played South Carolina. They were getting a boatload of points against South Carolina. They got blasted. They got toasted on the road against South Carolina. UNC Greensboro. All right. They were getting 13.5 against the UNC Greensboro team. They lost that game by 9. So they covered. They stayed inside the number, but difficult little road trip for those guys. So I like that. I added that William and Mary spot from the show earlier today. And I thought I wanted to share that with you guys because it's a play that I jumped in on. So let's see what you guys have to say in the chat. What's up, Sammy Calmer? Sammy Calmer, I'm doing everything here tonight, so I'm trying to keep an eye on everybody. JPZ says, LOL Gonzaga. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, reasonable suspicion to believe that Pepperdine gets that job done at 21. That's too many points. But anyhow, Nasty Nate says, I've been high all season. Good. Sammy Calmer likes Golden State Warriors +4. My man, Sammy, let's go. Wild man, you are a flyer. I don't know. JPZ says they miss Antonio. Yeah, there's definitely some issues out there. JPZ says Detroit struggles to score 60. You know what, though? Green Bay struggles to keep opponents out of the 60s. So I think that's plenty enough for us. Even if it does get to 60, and it's a 73-60 type of spot, we're going to cash that game. So he's got Detroit +2, he says. I just saw it switch to 3. So keep your eyes a mix on that thing. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see him win the game outright, like I said. But I want the 3. I think it's a bucket type of game in my back pocket. Ian says he took the Bobcats. Anyone with them? I need a little help when it comes to these Bobcats, Ian, because I'm not entirely sure which ones you're talking about. But we've got our boy lined up and ready to roll. Bring some stuff on. I don't need no introduction. I was working on it all day, but I said,
gotta move me over.
What we got here? Let's see what I can do here. Oh, you know what it is? Yeah, there we go.
It's just the layout. You got it? Okay.
Hey, I got it. Man needs no introduction, but I've been fucking practicing it all day, so I might as well use it. Here he is, Connor, making it, Mac, baby. What up, my guy?
Well, I didn't know that, Mike. I mean, I would have signed out for you if I knew that. Yeah. So
I made sure to practice. I mean, I'm not as good as Jimmy with it, but I wanted to come and bring the heat. For you,
no, Jimmy's improving. Razor, the goat, the goat on the Biggity Mac for sure. But what's going on?
Hey man,
what is up?
We're just digging in. We got a big hockey card tonight. I appreciate you joining us to talk some college hoops, small NBA card. So I I was excited that you were willing to get on board with us here. I just covered a couple of 7 o'clock spots. The last one I've got for 7 o'clock is actually 2 more. And then I'd love to hear your thoughts on this thing coming right around the corner. I went to Penn State plus 13.5, 60% of the bets, 51% of the cash. I love this Penn State spot, C-Mac. I'm curious your opinion on it. Specifically, I know Michigan State, it's a lot of points. It's too many points is my feeling on this game here. The thing about Penn State is, early in the season, they had to get their kind of bus and gear. They bring in Mike Rhodes from VCU. Mike Rhodes didn't just come in with the cupboards bare. He's got Ace Baldwin, which was his number one guy at VCU that comes in there. Now Ace Baldwin leads the Big Ten in steals, which I think is a big factor. DeMarco Dunn and Puff Johnson coming over from UNC. They came over as a pair because they like playing together. They get Zach Hicks, 10 points and 5 rebounds a night when he was playing at Temple. So he wanted to get the call up to the big show there in the Big Ten. And then Leo O'Boyle, 1,000-point scorer at Lafayette. Big opportunities for that team. They kind of put together a little powerhouse. And early in the season, they weren't right. They weren't figuring it out. They lost a lot of in-state games, in-town games that kind of was embarrassing for them. But, I think with this situation here, Michigan State kind of relies heavily on Tyson Walker. He's a 20-point-a-game guy, and he's a selfish ball hog. 15th in the nation in terms of shots taken. The other massive players, A.J. Hoggard, Jaden Atkins, and Malik Hall, 31.9 points is what they average together. The thing for me is not just selfish ball hog, but they kind of play a glory game as well. They like the layups and dunks. They're 5th highest percentage of accuracy and completion when they get the layups and dunks, but they're 40th lowest in college basketball when they got to shoot everything else. So it's a situation where it's like you got this Tyson Walker. I think he's going to match up against Ace Baldwin. I think it's going to frustrate and irritate, Tyson Walker that this guy's leading, the country in steals. And a couple of those opportunities, they pass the ball around to a team that's trying to figure it out and get the system down, puts them in a spot to get this game, at least to cover at 13.5. I'm not going to say they're going to win this game outright, C-Mac, but I kind of like what's happening with Penn State. Any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I have a bet, maybe not a full bet here, but I thought it was too many points too. And maybe this is a little bit of a sucker. That's why they put this line out there. But I don't trust Michigan State, who's just been really hot as of late. I like how Penn State's hung around in games kind of, all year in some of these losses. That's where I was getting at. If this was 9.5, 10.5, now it's a little bit different. But at 4 points, 13.5, I think it was a bunch. One thing with Penn State, if they could improve defensively, it would be a lot better. I just think they're not there yet. And it shows a ton in their games where they get up and down. The only thing where Michigan State, I think, gets this number and covers it at home, obviously, is they get out big real quick and kind of cruise. But I don't see that. And I just see Penn State getting to the line. Another thing, Michigan State, I talk about a lot. Teams laying points like this, 13.5, they only sit 69% free throws. I love that. It's a lot of bricks late. Where Penn State can hang in this game. So I have a bet with Penn State 13.5.
Like I said, 9-10. I think you nailed the assessment there, right? 9-10, okay, but 13.5, like you said, they miss free throws, and that just gives Penn State enough life to hang around. And one more 7 o'clock spot I have here, and then we've got some time to dig into some looks for you there, is the College of Charleston spot. I went Charleston. I went to +3 earlier today. Now it's fallen. It's down to 1.5. 52% of the bets, 45% of the cash on this road dog in Charleston, who's done really nothing but cover spreads out there. Big spot for us. We cashed. I mentioned this the other day. We've been cashing on a couple of spots where it's kind of who's your previous opponent situation. There's a kind of glob of teams that fall under this previous opponent spot. St. John's is one of them. Hofstra just played St. John's. Not the St. John's that we used to remember, but, now with Rick Pitino coming into the squad, 28 and 138, losing those games by 6 points. We cashed earlier this week on Brown. Brown almost won the game outright with a 4-point spot. Then we cashed yesterday with Stanford against UCLA. They won that game outright out there. And here we go again with the model showing us that Charleston's a play. We've got the kind of the line movement in our direction. And what I ended up doing with this game, the lines moved so much now that I said, fuck it. And I just went with the money line. I got the what's available? Plus 102 out there. And that was the spot for me on this game. So I don't know if you had any thoughts, any reads, any insight. It's kind of a little sleeper play out there, but I've been just tracking this model and rolling with it, and it's been successful.
Yeah, I don't have a play on this game, but one where I would lean is just over over, whatever it is here, 154.5. I think we get a bunch of points, and this can get over the number. This is one for me that needed to be like 150, 151 for me to play on the total. I don't know what you get from Hofstra. I didn't touch him in that game at Duke. They get beat up by UNLV. I did like him against St. John's, but I like the over better. That got there. Not easily, but it got there, 84-79. But I don't mind your play, especially if you got the 3 with Charleston. I think this could be a good game, back and forth. One thing, Hofstra a little more efficient offensively, better shooting team, but Charleston just up and down. They're just going to keep going up and down, all on you, getting fouls, getting to the line, and they could hang in this game. I sidewise, I stayed off, but I'd lean over here.
Yeah, I was thinking that kind of points seem to be it's somebody was asking me earlier today. They're like, "Why do you like this? What do you like about, or what is it with Hofstra?" I said that some younger years, a younger me, was involved with somebody that went to Hofstra, and all I fucking heard was I heard Hofstra so much that it's like subconsciously plastered in my head. So I kind of, without even knowing I'm doing it, I see Hofstra games and what's happening with their scores and stuff like that. So I don't know if you have a team that's like that or not, but for me, it's just one of those ones where I just kind of subconsciously know what the hell's going on and what's not going on with those guys. And it's enough for me to want to fade them today with this Charleston spot. So I see you've got a couple looks out here, though. We've got North Texas and Wichita is a game that you had on deck. So let me tee it up, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're getting in the window with this guy here. Let me find it. We've got college basketball. You got to love the time of year. Plays everywhere, and there it is. 9 p.m. Eastern start. North Texas opens at -1, has moved to +1.5. 73% of the bets and 84% of the cash sitting there on Wichita State. The total opened at 129.5. Man, they don't know where to put this number. 132.5 and 135s out there in some cases, but 64% of the bets and 63% of the cash sitting on that under. Last but not least, we like to look at the index on the money line when it comes to these tight spots here. -118 money line for Wichita State is now -105. But 78% of the bets and 72% of the cash. Well, I'm interested in this breakdown here. Give it to us. What's your strategy here?
Yeah, I think they're going off a little bit, Wichita State, what they've done early on in the year. And they're not great defensively here. So you got these two teams. North Texas, horrible offensively for the most part. They shoot the 3 okay. And Wichita just hasn't been very good defensively. Or of a high-paced team, too, on offense, up and down. But if you look at their numbers offensively, like, they're not very good. And they play some bad teams regularly. They are just rough here. Everything in the high 200s. They shoot 30% from 3. And then the flip side, with them offensively not being great, North Texas is great defensively. This is where we want them. I disagree, and I waited. I thought I was waiting until 134. I get when this opened 129.5, it was too low, and people have seen a little bit different in non-conference play. That both these teams, even more, Wichita have gone over. But as soon as 134.5, there is a 135 now. I'm on the under. I think it's too high. I could get beat here, but I have to go back to what I think North Texas is going to bring. Their pace, 361. Usually it's dead last. Usually it's 365. Right. They're 361 right now. I mean, it's only halfway through the year, but at that number, I got to be on the under here. And I think Wichita's got a shot to win here at home, +1.5. I just didn't mess with the side. I was looking for that key number there for this total, and I'm on it. I'm on the under.
I'll tell you what, I'm intrigued by that spot. I'm going to have to keep my eyes on that as we get closer to the card here with a lot of action early on. I wanted to, I kind of loaded up on the front end with some college basketball and some hockey, but I like that, especially with this number having moved as far as it has now. Like, we're starting to see that buyback. They're saying if you're going
I think it's too far.
Yes.
I get why people were doing it. I have to get to, I think games like this could be just closer and a little bit low scoring, lower pace. So I got at 135, that was 134.5 really was my point of pull the trigger.
Well, I see the next game you've got is Grand Canyon, Southern Utah. This line opens up at -9. 10.5s and 11s out there. 80% of the bets, 85% of the cash, like this Grand Canyon spot. The number's starting to fall. We've again 157 is the open, 156.5 down to 154.5 now with 94% of the cash and 94% of the bets, 99% of the cash on the under, and dropping. Take it away.
Yeah, this one's pretty ugly. I don't think this would be a popular play here, Mikey, for most people. I'm a massive Grand Canyon fan. I think they're really, really good. They've even been good on the road. Remember that game they came back, beat Liberty, I believe, on the road? We were live for that on Saturday. Yeah. December 9th, 69-64. I really, really like them. I think this is a bad spot. This is just too big now as we've hit 11.5. Southern Utah, one of the best teams, period, Mike, at home at all time in college basketball, at least like maybe the last 10 years. So I've been doing this really basically full time. They're 9-2 ATS is Southern Utah. They're dreadful on the road. They don't win. And they've covered a few. I remember, I think it was 89-88, something like that against Utah, a little rivalry, big brother, little brother. They hung around there. If they hit shots tonight, they're in this. This is the key. Some of the years in the past, Southern Utah has been a lot better shooting it, especially from deep. They haven't been great this year, and Grand Canyon is just a machine. They could go in there and win, but this is too big for me at 11.5, the double-digit dog at home. Give me Southern Utah. Give me the ugly dog.
Southern Utah. I like it. I like those. That is a lot of points. And they cover a lot of spreads, so that's a weird number to see. They've
been great ATS this year, and right. I don't really play them on the road. I wanted those points. I was on with Pete that day. It was like 26, and they lost by 2 to Utah. We were talking about it. I remember it. But when they're back at home, and they haven't been great this year. They're only 5-8, but they're 9-2 ATS. I'll take the points here.
Cover. You know what I like about that too, and kind of the strategy with the game is. They opened the number based on where they kind of thought maybe the inflation factor or deflation factor was based on the number of points of the spreads that they're covering. But now it's moved, a couple points back to where is a more comfortable number there. You're kind of going against the line movement there and saying, hey, I'll take the extra points in the back pocket because.
Well, here, Mike, the public loves Grand Canyon,
right?
And I think they just pushed it here to 11. Everyone's betting them. So they see Grand Canyon, like they're just going to roll here. The regular, Joe Blow is all over, just betting Grand Canyon. Shout out to the chat. Hit the like. All our guys here, Jay Peasy, Swig, Ian, Justin is always, Billy, Briz, Willie Beeman from the beginning, Sam Colmer, Dylan, what's going on, my dude? Joseph Thompson, what's up, my man? I see him dropping some overs here lately. Kelly, what's going on? Nasty, Nate. Can't wait to have some drinks and chill with Nasty Nate in Mr. San Antonio.
Mr.
Trifecta, baby. Hey, Swizz, what's up? Al? Hell yeah.
I see your next game on the docket here. You've got the JMU, James Madison Raging Cajuns game with a line that opens at 6, now 6.5. 57% of the bets, 55% of the cash on James Madison. Has moved a half a point in their direction. 156.5 on the total has dropped down to 155.5s and 155s with a ton of cash taken in this thing. 37% of the bets, but 95% of the cash on the under. 8 p.m. Eastern. Interesting spot. James Madison beat up Michigan State. Hasn't looked back, but what's the story with this game, Connor?
Yeah, James Madison's been very good. You talked about beating up Michigan State. Really, since then, has played nobody, but they're that good offensively. This has come down, but I still think there's points in this game. Whether it gets over, who knows? But I think Louisiana at home has some offense to at least hang in this game. I don't know if they win, but at 6.5, there are a few 6.5s out there, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. I just think it's a few too many. One of the bigger games. I know Louisiana, it's not the place that's going crazy here for basketball right now, but yeah, just a ton of love for JMU. So yeah, I got to be on the 6.5 here with Louisiana. I think they have enough shooters too to keep this game close. Them defensively they're not great, at all. And James Madison should eat. That's why I think this total can get over. I haven't bet it. I've been looking at it kind of all day, leaning that way. But I lean over. What do you think?
The fact that, we've just got Louisiana coming off and under and Texas State coming off and under for teams that do like to put some points on the board is a great spot for me. That's that kind of, they've taken a little of that inflation out of the number that I just talked about on the last game here. But I'm with you on this Cajuns team. I thought, we look at the public saying, where do they want to go with this game? And they're going to see that 13-0 and be like, oh, the Raging Cajuns stink. But I'm not so sure I'm willing to, there's a big difference between the pre-conference, the early season games and then what happens when they get in the conference. And these teams have tape. They know how to play these guys. And I think it's a great spot with the 6.5 at home. The thing about James Madison is they're used to playing in some louder buildings. What was there, 700 people at the last game for Louisiana? I mean, it's not a sellout type of situation. It's going to be quiet. You're going to hear a lot of the sneaker chirps. And I just think it puts a team in James Madison uncomfortable. Although they do score a lot of points. So I love your look on the over because, you look at it, Old Dominion, 84 points, Hampton, 88 points, Coppin State, 87 points, Morgan State, 89 points. Well, they played a lot of states, huh? Texas State, 82 points. They definitely are the state champions out there by beating these guys up. But, at the same time, Louisiana's been covering a lot of spreads. And this number is their sweet spot. When they're indexed in that 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 range, they're hard to beat. They hang in these games exactly like you said. They got a La Tech team. They were getting 6.5. They lose by 5. They're laying 2.5 against Eastern Kentucky. They smoke them by 11. I say smoke them, but for Louisiana team that's hanging in games, that's a big double-digit victory. That's huge. They get 6.5 against McNeese. They lose that thing by 2. Again, stay inside the number. And they're getting 4.5 against Rice on the road. And they paddled down on Rice. They won by almost 20 points against Rice. So I like this. I think it's an overlooked Raging Cajun spot here. And the fact that you can get that 6.5 says that, they don't have to win the game. Let's go do what they do. Cover. Good teams cover.
Yes. And they've played a lot of road games this year. So then they've been good at home. Let's see with a good team catching these points if they can get it done.
I like it. I like the look a lot. I think that's a really good spot there. I definitely have a look to that thing already. I jumped in on this one here. My last spot that I looked at for the card here is another later start for us in not the sexiest game on the card, but that tends to be the way that I play these things anyways. And this is another one of those sweet spots. So we've got 2 games tonight that kind of fit that criteria that I talked about earlier with the 28 and a blowout situation. This is the other game in that spot. Again, indexes and models almost exactly like the Brown and Stanford games where they were getting those 4 points. We talked about it with Charleston earlier. Again, a similar spot. Now the Charleston line is kind of steamed down a little bit. So I pivoted for Charleston to get that game outright. But I think in this case, as I was looking at these 2 teams, like you get a spot where SIU Edwardsville does cover spreads. They're not afraid to go out there. The other side of things with Little Rock, 75% of the bets and 92% of the cash on Little Rock. Marginal movement. I mean, it's moved to half a point. I guess there's a point in some areas now. You got a +4 out there for SIU Edwardsville. The total opens at 154.5, has dropped 3 points with 67% of the bets and 82% of the cash on the under. But look at this money line. -188 opens, 81% of the bets, 97% of the cash on this under. It's dropped 23 cents to -165. I think SIU Edwardsville is a live dog in this spot. And it's kind of one of those battles where it's like, again, not the most fun game that anyone's want to get involved with here. They score points. They don't really play a good defense, but SIU 7-1-1 against the spread. They cover spreads at a big clip. I think that's very important in this spot here. Ohio, not only do we have the 28 and 138 spot, this is one of those teams where you previously played Tennessee State, 28 and 138. Ohio Valley teams that are home off a win, 43 and 77 against the spread. They're losing those games outright by 4 points. So, in my opinion, SIU Edwardsville at 8-7 is live to go on the road, take down this Little Rock team who, let's face it, neither one of them is really playing anybody spectacular. I mean, Little Rock had a big win on December 13th against UTSA where they put up almost 100 spot. They play Murray. They win 88-60. Jacksonville State, they lose 90-60. That was kind of the eye-opening test. They take a little spin through the great state of Tennessee. Tennessee Tech, they win 81-75. Then they lose 90-82 to Tennessee State. They don't play defense. They're just not a defense-oriented team. And on the other side of things, you got an SIU Edwardsville team that covers spreads. So I jumped in on this Edwardsville spot. Not a great kind of feel good. It's going to get the main stage and billing on the TV tonight, but I just think here we go again with this trend. We have another trend that follows the suit as well, saying, that we've got this home team that's in a vulnerable position. And you're giving me the 4. Live dog, in my opinion, but I took the 4, and I feel pretty strong about it. SIU Edwardsville. Again, not a sexy game.
Yeah, shout out to our guy Lucky Lefty. He has Cleveland State Lipscomb over, Cal Baptist, Utah Valley. I'm not sure there, and Wichita State. Kind of like Utah Valley a little bit. I haven't bet on them since I started red hot with him. I believe 3-0. I've been off of them a bunch. This game, I like the 4 with Edwardsville. This is dropped, but to me, this was dropped more. I don't know how. These are some of these games that hit the 140. One game yesterday was Northern Colorado. It's been money for me on overs, Mike, against South Carolina. I didn't pull the trigger and put it out there. And it was like 97 to like 88. It was just easy, and it was right there at that 149. And I think this game could get over, especially with the dropping maybe a little too much. We see this, the line, they just put out this number that's a little bit too high. People pound it. But I think that's where you have to be sharp in college basketball, especially at these teams, and get it. And I don't mind the movements at all, really, when I go through these in these college games. Little Rock, it's kind of these teams, Mike, laying points. No way. And they've been a great over team, 11-4. I think Edwardsville, they're not great defensively too. So I lean over and I lean the points. Didn't make a bet on it, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, Trojans averaging 79 points a game. The thing about Edwardsville, I started looking at these implied point total spots too, where they kind of say, how many points do they think they're going to get, and then they've been exceeding that number. So love the overlook in this thing as well. Certainly not mad about that 1 iota. I think it's a great spot to see points. And I think Edwardsville kind of keeps up with these boys and does enough to at least cover. But I think a live dog spot out there. So there we go. Philly Eagle Flyer says quick 1-1-0 Bruins. Yeah, we've been, it's funny. We started these shows off, Connor. I was able to kind of wedge them into an hour window, but it seems like, post the holiday.
It's a pretty big card. Thank God there's not a ton of NBA games. We're almost done though.
Yeah, that's what I said. We only got the 2 NBA today, so I was like, I think that's a spot for us. And Abel A likes Arizona, Colorado, and Al Cervix says, I feel like if C-Mac and Mike approach the windows, the folks are going to get nervous. I'll tell you what, shout out to the Saturday live show, man. We made a lot of money, not just in college football, but transitioning to college basketball as well. We've been, you guys have been doing a great job on those college basketball shows, and I love getting in there because I'm capping the card kind of on the fly, and late guy here. When I hang out with you West Coasters, there it's it's early rising for me to be able to catch those things, especially cocktail.
It's early rise. That's why I love doing it. We're doing the bowl games, but some of the later games that I haven't hit because on a college basketball card on a Saturday is just huge, and we have the other sports as well. So yeah, I love doing it. We've been doing a great job, so I love having you on as well.
One last window that I have for us in college basketball is a little later start for us here. Last game, I had a big clip today. I had to get out there with Jimmy, the Bag Show today, so I wanted to come ready to play and share every one of the plays that I was jumping in on. And I'll tell you what, I went to the big one. It's a late one. It's a bounce back opportunity. 9:30. I say late one, Connor. It's like dinner time for you, right? 9:30 Eastern. Colorado versus Arizona. Line opens at 9.5. Shoots up to 12.5 now. 64% of the bets, but only 44% of the cash on Arizona. Yet it's moved 3 points. The total opens at 162.5, has dipped to 159.5, 80% of the bets, and 65% of the cash on the over. Yet it has fallen a little bit. And look, short, sweet, to the point. I jumped in on Arizona. I think it's a great Arizona spot to bounce back. Arizona taking a bad loss, but what do they do when they come off of losses? They rebound. They lost to Purdue. They come back and they beat up Bama by 90 points. On the other side of things, I look at Colorado. This is like their first real road trip since that Colorado State spot there. And when I saw that, they should have beat Colorado State in that game. Colorado State beats Creighton. That's the in-state rival. Classic letdown spot. And yeah, they lost the game by 5. They were getting 4. But I had money on Colorado in that game, expecting the letdown. It wasn't a 5-point game. I mean, they might have come back at the end and got it done, but I think it's a defensive opportunity for Arizona to show their stuff. They're a top 10 defensive team. They force turnovers at a top 100 rate. Colorado's offensive turnover buckets like 280 in the nation. So, I just don't think Colorado can score enough points to keep up in this game. But I don't want to sway anybody that's on a total side of things. I know Colorado ranks 7th in 3-point percentage. But it only accounts for 25% of their points. To me, says the danger with that is it's quicksand. You shoot a lot of threes, you go out there and have a lot of fun shooting the long ball from all kinds of places on the court. But when you miss and the other team comes back, they rebound and then put 2 points on your ass. Now you got to go back, you make a little adjustment, you take another three, you miss. They take another 2 points on your ass. Now you're down 4 points in the pivot, and you got to come back out there. And now you need a desperation three, or you're going to be down double digits in the game. And I think that's how the story goes in this game with this Arizona bounce back. But it's a big one. So I like the Arizona. I got the minus 12.5. I gave it out on Jimmy's show at 12 earlier today. But he liked the first half as well. I know he was looking at the minus 7. Figuring these boys are going to go start to finish. How come a team with this record that Colorado has is laying that many points? And I think it's because Arizona's dangerous tonight. What do you think?
Classic, Mike. Shout out to our guy, Ron Crawford, up in here. Michael, he's on it first half. Jay Peasy, Long Beach State, for sure. Shout out to Nasty Nate. I already hit him up, but hit up, donate if you can to his son's basketball thing. His links just go on X/Twitter. If you got a couple bucks, hit it up for my guy, Nasty Nate. This is the classic Colorado on the road shits the bed. That's why all you guys and everyone else loves Arizona. And I get it. This is just Arizona off the loss. Looks horrible, kind of to Stanford. You hit it. But lately, Mike, that defense has been awful. This Wildcats defense ain't been good, at all. So that's one thing, but they expect them just to smash here. And you got into a point, about the Colorado being on the road. We've seen this time and time when they've had some really good years the last 3 or 4, where they're 11-2 or whatever, 12-1. They go on the road like this and get killed. They've only had one true road game. We've seen this a lot. We're seeing it right now. There's a lot of neutral games, these tournaments early on. There hasn't been really true road games until we start to see this here in January. Conference play starts too. The total's dropped, but I don't know how. I mean, I don't want the under here. Someone have already put there on the over. I think Arizona easily gets to 90, and it could be more. And I'm taking more. So, it could be close, but I'd only be on the over in this game. I get it. I did bet it, but I get why everyone loves Arizona. This is kind of like the spot plays.
Yeah, I was thinking Arizona could put up 100 points, and then what? What's Colorado going to do? So I wouldn't be mad at anybody that wanted to consider that team total over as well. I think it's a bounce back spot. It's a bad position for Colorado to have to go on the road and take an angry team in Arizona that probably is tired of hearing about what happened with that, with that Stanford spot, and wants to get that bad taste out of their mouth. And probably start to.
They did appropriate though, Mike. The number's big. Like this isn't 7.5 or 8 yet. Like this is right. I mean, they're thinking it's going to be a big game for Arizona. Yeah.
Well, C-Mac, I know we kind of talked intermittently about this NBA. I'll tell you, I didn't have anything on this Bucks game. I know the line opened at 10.5, 52% of the bets, 32% of the cash on the Bucks. The total was kind of intriguing, but it's at 250. I mean, 248 now. It opens at 250. At 248, 7:30 Eastern start, 55% of the bet, 68% of the cash. I would say, if anything, to me, it would be, initially it was leaning into the Bucks to get the job done. These two teams played recently. I want to say it was a 16-point spread, if I'm not mistaken. And that number's come down pretty significantly. I know Kelly V said it's Wemby's birthday, so his blocks wouldn't be something I would shy away from, especially because of the height of this point number at 250. The Bucks are 8-0 to the over, covering the over by almost 19 points when they're playing a team that's got a bad win percentage between 0 and 25%. And the Spurs are 17-1-1 to the over by 15 points in the first half of the season if their opponent lost the previous 2 games. So tough spot here where it says the numbers suggest the Bucks should come out here and run this thing up, but it's just not something I wanted a part of. I don't know if your mind's changed on it, but I did have a play on the next game.
I don't have a play, and I have a lean on the next game. Pretty strong. Mike, I'm 12-0. I haven't lost an NBA bet in over a week.
Oh,
so NBA,
shit.
red hot in the NBA. 12-game straight banger, and I haven't pulled the trigger on the next game. I don't want this here. Bucks off both those losses. Pacers have been a machine for me and been making money playing really good basketball. The back-to-back losses, home and away. Defense not very good. That's why here we go on the road playing these points. Even how bad the Spurs are, this seems like this is a 15, 18-point win, or this could be a lot closer. And there's just no way right now with the Bucks, even how bad the Spurs are, that I want to lay points with them. And even on the road, I talk about the Bucks. I love them at home, kind of first half laying the points. Do you want to do that here? I don't even want to do that. It's a pump the brakes for me. You know, get over. If there's no defense really going on here, Bucks are sleepwalking. His total's huge though, but we've seen a lot of these totals get there.
Yeah, what scares me is let's say they start beating the brakes off the Spurs. They start sitting guys and they start messing up the rotation. Are the Spurs gonna keep trying, or are they going to I mean, how many times I've seen Wemby sit when I've played his rebound props and his block props a lot. I see him sit quite a bit, and I'm sitting there scratching my head going, he's just not going to get to that 2.5, and he ends up quite a bit. So
watch that. He's not playing more than 25 minutes. I mean, if he is, it's barely over that, and usually it's that short. So watch with you're just taking over Wemby props in that one. Yeah, with Lillard, Dan Kelly just put it in there. He's got problems. Yeah, he doesn't play any defense. It's like, God, it's just kind of, can that change down the line for this team in the playoffs? Giannis can. He play some D, but everyone just kind of rolls through the motions for them. And, huge number. I know they had kind of after starting out the year, Bucks kind of bad ATS. They kind of hit a nice streak, a win streak, had some good covers. But, yeah, I don't want them. That's for sure. And I wish I had to trust the Spurs a lot more. But this could be a game they covered. In the end, I just had to be off.
Well, the last game I looked at, big one for us here. Big opportunity. Golden State hosting the Denver Nuggets as a dog. 64% of the bets, 63% of the cash on the Nuggets. The total, kind of a frozen line. 69% of the bets on the over, 52% of the cash on the over. With zero movement for the most part here. And revenge spot. We know Golden State dangerous in a revenge spot. 9-0 in a revenge spot as a home dog. 8-1 of those spots outright. The big difference, though, is some of these lineup changes they have. They can't figure out where they want to put Chris Paul, and that's obviously cause for concern. I know you see my plays on the screen there, but what are your thoughts?
That's my lean. Mike, you could get 4 now.
4s are out
in this one. I wanted to hit on these teams just played, obviously, December 25th, 6-point win at home for the Nuggets. But this is one of those weird ones where most of these games between them two have been pretty close. And it's just right about this number. And it's weird. It's just how it started the year. The last 2 were at home for the Nuggets, and the first 2 already they played this year were with the Nuggets. So the last 4 games they played, all Nuggets wins, 134-117, all 112-110. There's 2-point win, 108, 105, and then we have a 121-14. Like, I'm heavy here. I just haven't bet it yet. I like the 4 with Golden State, a team that it's just been rough. I tried to take them in spots. They had the win the other night against the Magic, 121-15. The Magic were on the back-to-back, though, there. I love it, though. To me, I think this is as good as the Nuggets are. I think the Warriors can at least keep this game close. And I like the 4.5. I just haven't bet it. Maybe I should. I'm red hot, Mike.
Yeah. What the hell? 12-0. Oh my God, man. That's smoking them books.
What do you think about the total here?
I kind of gave it a quick look, and I thought to myself, the fact that it's kind of that frozen number scares me a little bit. I want to believe there's going to be points, but I've seen some of these point, rebound, assist numbers for Steph Curry that have kind of fallen off the map as well. So I didn't have a really good feeling on that side of it. I was just thinking the points as the dog. If it was a gun to my head or I had a free bet, I would probably lean to the under, just because we're not seeing really any movement on the total. They're not showing concern. But even as we're talking, this Golden State line, 3.5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, 4, 4.5. They can't figure out where it should be, but it seems like 4 is the right number. Did you have a thought on the total?
No, I didn't want to mess with the total. I thought it was a little bit high.
Yeah.
Here. Dan saying Warriors are, you know what? I think if you like then the Nuggets, I think pound them early. It seems like maybe a good spot for the Nuggets first half. It just was one of these ones, handicapping it, going back and forth. both these teams haven't been great ATS. On this short card, I just couldn't get around to something I want to bet on in it, but it was just my lean. You already bet it though?
I
Golden
did.
State?
Yeah, doesn't it feel like the general public's going to look at this thing and think, well, it's Denver, they're winning, and it's Golden State and they're not winning. Like, let's go here. It's a low number. It just feels like it's trappy to take the road dog or the road favorite. And the other thing is Nuggets are 2-17 against the spread as a road favorite when it's lined between -1.5 and -12 when they're off a home spread win. So they don't rebound. They don't travel well after that home win when they're in this position. So, and that's a wide range between the -1.5 and -12. So that kind of tells me like they're kind of vulnerable here. And I don't know if Denver wants to get up for this game. Warriors being 16-1 as home dogs. It's not the same Warriors that had the, used to be the little trophy for the trophy case there if you came out there and beat Golden State, but now it's kind of a real and Golden State team that's kind of made a joke of themselves here as of late. So I did see somebody in the chat had Klay Thompson. Who was it, like the Klay Thompson spot with the points?
Man, he's just, age is catching up to him here.
I think it was our guy Abel A that was on that spot.
He can still get hot though. Shooters, can still get hot, and he's a great shooter. The Nuggets have had days off here. What they play, it's been a couple days. So still, it's Golden State. I got to think they're up for it a little bit here. Maybe not on that.
I just think Golden State's, the points in themselves. Is it going to be a blowout? The numbers suggest it's not. Are they a live spot to get it done? I think it's going to be a lot tighter than it should be. But I like the 4, and I like our guy Ian Shaver gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Our guy Ian, man, my guy's been money. He's been sharing his wealth with us, and it does not go on deaf ears, my guy. It's appreciated that you enjoy what you're hearing with us and the content, helping us grow the community. We get our guy C-Mac in here, guys firing away in the NBA, giving you looks, banging away college basketball. And then Ian,
I wish we had a big NBA card because, it's just it's been good. I got a little, when you sometimes get hot, though, I had the 227.5 to under in the Toronto game, and it was 116, 111. I had the Heat +6. So, every once in a while when you're running hot, you catch a little like the hook where you don't get hooked, So
take the breaks when you can, Connor. Well, and I appreciate you making the time to jump in here. I know it was last minute, but always appreciate the insight. Love hanging out, sharing the screen with you, and
always, brother.
Live streaming, my guy. So tell everyone what you got cooking, where they can find you, what we can expect from you next, my guy.
Well, shout out to everyone in the chat. Chat makes this shit run. Ian with the dono, appreciate it, my man. Especially everyone in green. It's just as much, we're on here. It's just as much everyone in the chat, all these shows. So shout out to all you guys in here. As I say, Mikey, best goddamn chat in the goddamn game, hands down. I'll say that anywhere else. All the guys that we run with in this chat, I'll just leave it at that. But thanks for having me. Saturday morning, check us out. North Carolina, Clemson, baby. Big game. But not only that, we'll college basketball live betting that. The rest of the card, we'll hit up everything else. NBA on a Saturday, NHL. I'd love to have you on if you can. Nasty Nate, it's 14 months. Shout out to my guy. Appreciate it, my man. But thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. I'll see you soon and enjoy, again, spending the time together. So thank you very much for the looks, the insight, the content. We'll be catching up with you soon, my guy. And Nasty Nate, I did see your comments and doing a lot with running the dashboard as well. So hope you're safe, buddy. Be safe out there. You never know what happens at these basketball games these days, and safety first. But appreciate everybody dropping in with us tonight. Give you the rundown again. It looks like my Boston under-6 is going to hurt, but we still have the parlay in play. We got the Sabres. We got the Dallas Stars. We a big card tonight. I got a comma plus invested in this card tonight, so it's going to be a lot of fun to sweat this thing out. Florida Panthers tonight. The LA Kings -1, the Florida, Boston, Philly parlay. We've got Detroit +3, the Green Bay over 132 spot. William & Mary -3.5, Penn State +13.5, Charleston +102 money line, SIU Edwardsville +4, Arizona -12, and then Golden State +4. Big card, a lot of sweat, a lot of cash on the line tonight. I hope you guys cash with me. And you know what's going on. Pub Sports Radio. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that thumbs up, like, and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet in the green, get to be a member. We love seeing more members growing in this community day by day. It's $4.99 a month. Small price to pay for us to be able to reinvest and bring you guys additional content. Shows like All About the Hoops on Wednesday. Big show for the guys, Dabby and Dutch, giving more cash in everybody's pockets. Live streaming, sweating together, finding opportunities to cash. And you know where you'll find me back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. It's Last Call, Monday to Friday. Thank you, everybody. Shout out, stay pubbing. Shout out, C-Mac, man. I'll see you guys soon. Let's get